Thanks for joining us today on the Big Blue Podcast. I'm Leigh Goodson, and I'm joined by my co-host, Nicole Burgin, Media Relations Manager. How are you today, Nicole?
Thanks very much for having me. I'm filling in for Dr. Greg Stone, Metro Campus Provost, since he is not in town today.
That's right, and we're glad to have you. I think it's a great opportunity. So we're here at the Tulsa Technology Center Conference Center here in Owasso today for the Combined Professional Development and Convocation Day, which was suggested to us by some faculty, and I think it's going really well so far. Mary, what do you think?
I think so. We've had some hiccups, but okay.
Yeah, so our guest today is Mary Sirkel, Manager of Employee Training and Development, and you're fairly new to your role. I think you started at the beginning of the summer?
In March.
In March. Wow. Has it already been that long? Wow, that's exciting. Well, Mary, you're here. It's really a new position that came out of the strategic plan, and we've been working really hard to fill it, and finally you arrived.
Yay.
I mean, I knew along the way and during the search we weren't going to fill it till we found exactly the right person, and we're so excited to have you. And I've already heard great things about the work that you're doing, so thank you for that up front. But tell us what kind of goals you have in mind when your team started planning this semester's Professional Development Day, and just what do you hope that employees find beneficial in their time here today?
Okay. Well, I do have to give credit to the other part of the team because I actually started planning this a year or more ago to get the facility and all of that, and then I came along in March. And so I think the goals were really about having a day where the employees, all of our full-time faculty and staff, would have a day to really get some good information, development opportunities. Not all of the staff gets to go to a conference like, out of town. And so to have that available here right at their back door or front door or wherever they are in town is really good for them to have that opportunity. So I think the goals were to really fulfill the strategic plan and try to do what we could in a day since the campuses were closed.
Speaking of campuses being closed, how important was it to be able to have a day where all full-time employees could attend rather than having, say, the frontline staff still working on campuses as in previous years?
Right. I think that's really important, and I don't know for sure how that decision came to be, but from when I came on board, I thought it was such a good nod toward really showing all of our staff that the strategic plan is really real and that you're supporting it by allowing that to happen, to close the campuses and even all the offices is quite an undertaking. And I would just say that goes a long way for employees to feel like this is important for me and beneficial for me.
Also a commitment
Yes.
from TCC
Absolutely.
to close the college and to provide that opportunity.
We have said all along the way that professional development is key to student success, and to really make sure that everybody has not just the opportunity to engage in professional development, but to do it together is, I think, really important in a single setting. I think really shows and gets results in the direction that we want them.
Right. As a trainer, whenever we do employee professional development, they usually learn something in the class, but I always hear from the employees that it's so important to see other people and to make those connections, and that's a big part of what we can do, and to have everybody together.
What was the biggest challenge logistically in making today's Professional Development Day happen?
Well, I can say, because I participated in that, and that was to find the speakers. We needed a lot of speakers from the community, low cost or no cost, obviously, because budget's always a challenge. And just to go out there and work and talk to people, explain what we're trying to do, get them to commit to giving up part of their day and prepping for this the day after a holiday. And we had lots of people come on board, all happy to do it for us, so that speaks to how well TCC is viewed in the community.
What about space? Because we're talking about a large number.
Right. So space, that was an issue, and that, like I said, they were working on this long before I got here. So to find the space available in Tulsa at a price that we can afford is very important, and being able to come here to Owasso, to this beautiful campus, it's been really, really helpful for us. So, yeah, it's all good.
That's been a great opportunity, and it's really nice that our partnership with Tulsa Tech has allowed us to be on this campus today. I'm Leigh Goodson, and I'm here with Nicole Burgin. Mary Sirkel, TCC's Manager of Employee Training, is our guest today, and you're listening to the Big Blue Podcast. Mary, you've recently launched a new training program for administrative assistants, and I had the opportunity to give them a little welcome at your first meeting that you had over there in the St. Francis classroom on the Metro campus. And so these are administrative assistants throughout the college. Tell us about the program and what kind of outcomes do you expect to be achieved? We know the role of the administrative assistant has evolved over the last couple of decades. Tell us what you hope to achieve through this program.
Well, I think there was a number of different things going. First, we were asked to do this because we have about 10% of our workforce is administrative assistants at the college. So we knew it would be a big group of people, and we also know that they have a lot of influence. And just like today on some of the awards that we're giving on staff, a lot of the staff recipients were administrative assistants, and so that makes a big impact to how far-reaching they can be in that. And so with me coming on board new, launching some learning and development programs, and having a group of people who kind of have a wide breadth and touch can be very helpful. And also to just invest back into them for all the work that they do. So having a program that is going to help them become more effective and efficient, and I hope that they feel like that attention is well deserved, and it's not because they're doing things wrong, it's because we do appreciate what they're doing and that we want to help them even become more efficient and effective in their jobs, because they do have to do so much within their departments and groups. So.
Since coming to work at TCC, we talked about, I guess, coming in March of 2017.
Right.
What surprised you the most about working at the college?
Well, what surprised me the most, I've been in training development for a number of years, different organizations and corporations in town, and one of the things that I had never gotten was such a well-received reception. So people, the first 2 months I was here, if I did hear it once a day, I heard it 2 to 3 times a day when people met me, and they would say, "We're so glad you're here. We're so glad you're here." And I never had that before, and they were genuine about it. And so I just really felt that welcoming from the minute I stepped foot in the door. The first day I got here, I got that from someone. So it's amazing to have that kind of reception, particularly when you're new and people don't know you and they don't know what you're about and all of that. So that surprised me a lot. I'd never gotten that before.
You talked about the welcoming, but why was TCC the place that you wanted to be? So once you got here, you saw how welcoming the college was.
It's not, I don't think it was any big surprise. I've been looking for a job for 2.5 years. And really, the criteria, I had turned down some jobs. I had been turned down for some jobs, but my criteria was, a colleague of mine had asked me, "Mary, if you could create your job, what would it be?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to work for a nonprofit. I'd like to have the ability to help give back and to help build my passion," which my passion in life is to help people be the best they can be and working in life. And if I can do that through facilitating a training program, bringing them new information, more information, connecting them with a really good book or a course online, anything that's going to help them grow, if I can do that, then I feel like I'm fulfilling my passion. And so to work for a company that's their whole focus is to help grow people, it really was like a dream come true. So I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, that's great. We're glad to have you.
Thank
and
you.
I think people telling you that every day was just indicative of how much people want to learn within our roles. So,
I'm interested to find out what your definition of employee training and development is.
Okay. Well, a lot of, thinking about this and, what's professional development, what's training, To me, training is more about teaching people to do something that they don't know how to do. You get a new piece of software, a new tool, something like that. You have to train people on it. Well, the first step is this. This is what you do. And the second step is this. For me, professional development and development, that word, is more about teaching people more of what they already know. So it's really helping them pull out what they've already learned in life and in their school and in their work, and adding new things to it, layering on the learning. And sometimes it's just about having them remember what they already know so that they can then apply it. So it's a facilitation more than it is training them new things. A lot of people have the knowledge. You just need to help them remember it and then get them to practice it.
So Mary, we have one last question that we ask every one of our guests. And according to John, we've had about 70 shows. So we've asked quite a few people. We're here at Tulsa Community College, and we have a lot of students that are traditionally aged. So they're 18, maybe 19. If you had the opportunity to go back and give advice to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell her?
Yeah, don't make me cry here.
Okay, we won't make you cry.
No, this is really, and in my interviews with Sandy Cooper and Sean Wines, I actually talked about this because I came from a family, a very poor family. My dad was a diesel mechanic. My mom never worked, and so I was the baby of 5, and I never had the chance or even thought about going to college. It was just so far outside of my realm of possibilities that I had no clue that it could even happen for me. So when I was 18 and 19, I didn't go to school. I worked. I worked from the time I was 15 years old, a full-time job, and I was the only one out of my family to finish high school. So even though I was smart and I had capability, I just didn't think it was within me to make that next step. And so years down the line, I was married, and I had worked my way up in a job where I was interviewing people to take jobs that were paying much more than I was making, and I couldn't qualify for those jobs because I didn't have the degree. But I knew those jobs, and I could do those jobs. I worked in the financial industry. And so my husband and I were taking a walk one day, and my job was changing. It was moving to California, and he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to go to school. And he said, you can go. I said, how can I go? We've got kids, we got a house, we got cars and dogs and, all these responsibilities. And in fact, my stepson was getting ready to go to college at the time. And he said, you can go to college. And I said, but it costs $1 million. And he said, no, it doesn't. You can go to the community college. And we lived in Texas at the time, so I started at the community college there.
Which one?
And it was North Harris Community College. And so I got my associate's degree there. And then we moved to Tulsa, and I finished my bachelor's degree at what was then University Center at Tulsa through Langston. And then went on to get my master's. And so my advice to folks would be to start early. Know that you have opportunities. People will help you. You need to ask. See what you can qualify for. And programs like Tulsa Achieves that we have here now for students, if that would have been available when I was younger, maybe I would have had a different, start. But that's okay. I wouldn't change any of that. It's just that I volunteered recently at the new student orientation, and one of the things we were talking about to some students that were non-traditional students is that it doesn't matter if you can take a whole semester of college. Take what you can, because by even taking a class a semester, over time you'll get that degree and you'll be better off for it. But if you say, I can't go because I can't go a full semester, time's going to go by anyway. So do what you can now, and it'll work for you. So that's my advice.
Great. Thank you. Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah, I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. Well, you've been listening to the Big Blue Podcast. We want to thank our guest, Mary Sirkel, for spending some time with us today, and we want to thank you for listening. Nicole Burgin, it was great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And you've done a great job with us. Remember, you can catch the Big Blue Podcast each week in the week at TCC and on the Creativity channel at YouTube. We will see you next time. Thank you for listening.